Hey everyone, I'm Cassidy Jensen, a licensed professional counselor.
And I'm Grace Allspaw, a licensed marriage and family therapist. And we are both owners of our own therapy practices and passionate about the world of therapy.
This is Two View Therapy, the podcast, a show where we will explore popular shows, hot topics in today's culture, relational struggles, and family dynamics.
Join us for your weekly session.
Because if nothing changes, nothing changes.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Tiredness just hit me.
Yeah. You need some more coffee?
I tried it.
Welcome to episode 8.
Saturday about it. Yes.
Episode 8. Love Island.
Breaking it down. Yeah, I just finished all 36 episodes. The reunion is either 36 or 37. So I just finished. It was fun when we started, but there should be no reality show that is 36 episodes long.
Okay. This is my first season watching the US version, but I have seen the UK version. And there are more than 36 episodes on that version. I think there's like 50.
That's just exhausting.
Yeah.
I think what they're doing is like you're literally watching like as things are unfolding. Yeah. I have a lot of thoughts, not necessarily about the connections formed between the contestants. I have a lot of thoughts on the production side of things.
Yeah. Well, let's start there. What are your thoughts on the production side of things?
Okay, well, going into it, because I hadn't watched it before, I was like, this is just your everyday reality show. I'd seen Love is Blind and Too Much to Handle and some of the other garbage out there, so that's my expectation.
Yeah.
But this is like a game show.
Yes.
And with that, that's where my lens comes from. I was like, okay, like there is definitely some setup. I was just talking to you because you wanted to know who won.
Yeah.
Because you weren't quite there.
I have like 10 minutes until I figure it out.
Yeah, I was like, I don't really care. Let's just get this done and over with.
Fair.
Where was it? Oh, about all of their outfits. First off, they're given a small suitcase. And I guarantee you, because each girl has a different bikini and an outfit for every day, and they're there for 6 weeks, how does that fit into that tiny ass suitcase for starters? Plus all their makeup and hair stuff. Maybelline sponsors them, but they don't all use Maybelline products.
Not disagreeing.
So that doesn't all fit in there. Plus you have all the outfits when they do their little game things.
Those, I believe, are provided.
Yeah, what do they do with those? I don't know. It never looked like there was enough space. Granted, it's just bikinis.
I do
or
think
shorts.
We don't actually know how big the place is, because I think there's pieces of it we don't see.
Well, the hideaway you don't see for a while, and I don't really feel like they made use of that very much. And then like the little conference room where they talk to their parents.
Oh, the garden area?
Yes.
And then even there's a couch that I don't remember who went and talked to there. That was inside. It had like green pillows. Maybe it was green.
No, I think that area was green, and it had some neon light situation.
Yeah.
So I think there's that. I wonder how much of it is staged. Then you also have the added tidbit of like America voting and having their input. So how much of this really gets to be authentic? They say like this is a show to make connections. But they just keep adding these bombshells. So like how many authentic connections can you really when you're constantly stirring the pot?
Well, and even they added 2 bombshells in the last like 8 days or something.
Yeah, because there was Cassie and Harrison. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like the later contestants I noticed, those didn't really stick. They fizzled out. People were kind of set in their ways. But also with that, with Harrison, like Kendall and Nicole decided to be closed off, and Harrison still went on a date, and it was like those. You can say that all you want, but like the show says, like you're still open. So I felt a little bit ick from that.
Yeah, there's almost a sense of like we're sending in people, so you need to get to know them. And they all say that throughout the show, like, I'm focused on you, but I'm open to getting to know other people.
They all literally.
You know, I was just chatting with my dad over the weekend about culture, the culture we live in always wants more.
Yes.
That we're never satisfied with what we have. And him and I had just been at Costco. And so he was like, Costco literally ingrains needing more. That the standard quantity or quality is not good enough.
Yeah.
That you always need to have more than that. And I think this show amplifies that of maybe you have a great connection with someone, but someone more attractive or someone with a better smile or personality comes in.
Yeah.
Goodbye to whoever's
well, that just makes me think of Casa when they get 3 days to do whatever the fuck they want.
Literally whatever they want.
Yeah. And it's like, what do we expect here? I don't know. I just had so many issues with that part. And then I think about we are consumers of this show. So again, productions like do this because the consumers want to do it. I don't know. So that makes me think of the overall mental health of the contestants. They're all, I don't know, trauma bonded, but experience bonded and stuck in this villa together, though beautiful. I can only imagine like 6 weeks just being in the same little area.
Well, and I've watched interviews of people who've been on Love Island before in the UK, and I guess I don't know how the US version is. I don't know if it's the same, but like you don't see anyone from production. There's not a cameraman. Like all the cameras are in the villa. There's no other people.
Okay, I wonder how they did that. Because like with some of their like up close talking scenes, I'm like,
there's cameras everywhere.
How personal can you get if there's somebody just like
no people? So it's just them. Like,
well, and then they flip stuff for the game. So how would they know?
So I believe what happens, and we don't see that, but I believe what happens is they get a text that says, you all have to stay inside until we let you know. People come in, set up games or activities or whatever it is, bring in alcohol, food, whatever, and then they leave and get a text and say, you guys can now. Yeah. So there's like no other interaction from the outside world.
No wonder they get so bonded. Well, because I know, like, 4 days into it, I don't know, some along the ways, like, I was definitely chuckling and having a laugh because I was like, how are you guys this invested already?
Well,
in like 48 hours.
And I know, I don't know how it is now, but I know when COVID was happening and they did Love Island, that they had to be in a hotel for 2 weeks alone before they came on to the show. And then if you are a Bombshell, you are in the hotel from that beginning point.
Until when they released you.
Yes. So imagine being alone in a hotel room all by yourself for weeks waiting. Like if it was, whatever, what's her name?
Cassie at the
She was the last girl.
Yeah.
She could have been in a hotel waiting.
And that sounded like 5 weeks or so.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine that.
Whose expense here? This is my issue.
Yes. The mental health of sitting alone. That's why COVID was such a problem. We were in isolation, all alone, not having touch, interaction, conversation face to face. It was not healthy. We as people are not meant to do that. And this show creates that.
Yeah. Well, that just brings me back into the whole our disconnected society because of social media and instantaneous culture. But I feel like this show definitely perpetuates that. I don't know. There was just a lot of things that I just was like, it just feels so simulation that, we're just going to change these variables because these are the guinea pigs and Big Brother almost. Like we're just watching it and manipulating things through a screen.
Well, everything they do is recorded.
I know.
There's no space, I don't think, where you can go without a camera. Even the Hideaway. Which is like,
I was like, this feels a little too invasive.
yes. Yes. I don't know. I don't think, I think isolation to start with.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're put into a villa with people you don't know. I've never met.
Well, and I texted you about this. I was like, you just met these people and now you're like told like to partner up and that's who you're sleeping with tonight. And no,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just the personality I am not. But I was like, this is just a lot right from the get-go.
Would you see it more later on in every season? I've watched it's happen this way. Later in the season, you see people sleeping outside or whatever. But at the beginning, no one chooses to sleep alone.
Right.
Like,
well, it's probably just like, at least I have you already. I don't know. Well, and then when they drop the bombshells and they're doing some sort of activity, I think back to they did the little lingerie Chippendales situation, and that's how they introduced Cassie. Yeah, and comes in wearing lingerie and is grinding on these guys. Like, hey guys, here I am.
oh, even think about Miguel. When he came in, all the girls are blindfolded and he kisses.
Oh, I know. I was like,
or even
I don't even remember them all.
Nicole and Andrea. They came in lingerie.
Yep, because they were tied up and blindfolded again. There's a lot of
lots of control and manipulation and lack of consent in some ways.
Dude, I thought about consent so much. I was like, I wonder if they signed any waivers because I don't want to say harassment. There's just like a lot of forced touch with the games that they do.
Yes.
And I was like, what if they don't want to do this? That brings me back to the stupid 4th of July thing where they're in a like little line and they're passing dogs.
Yeah.
And then they're past. I was like, I don't love it. Okay.
I actually
get to the show.
Part of that.
I watched the hot dogs and then they freaking did ketchup.
Yeah.
Where they're just pouring it into their mouths and baby birding it or mother birding it to the next person and the final person spits it in a bowl. What kind of fucked up shit? Like,
yeah,
who thought of that? I was like, did they all have like testing done so nobody gets any diseases? Because
they would have to, right? I also, now that we're talking about this, I feel like, or I think we should say, to those of you who have not watched Love Island, this is a reality, like, love game show where I think it's 6 girls and 6 guys start off. We're 5 and 5.
No, it was...
Okay. And you come in, you look at everyone, and you pick who you want to couple up with. You're automatically put with that person. And, like, if they pick you, basically, you have no choice. Like, you're with that person.
Yes.
And then it's a 6-week time frame. And randomly new people come in the villa. They call them bombshells. And often they get the choice of who they want to couple up with. So they can steal, like... your
man or lady.
Yes.
And consent. Or if they were already coupled up and find with somebody, like, it doesn't matter because they all say this. So I wonder if they were told this, I need to stay open to other.
Yes. It's constant that even like there's a couple on this season, Aaron and Kayla. They coupled up in the very beginning. They started using the L word pretty early on.
Yeah.
And were really interested in each other. I don't think they were closed off, but it was like they're not getting to know other people.
Now that you're saying that, because the show likes to stir the pot, I wonder if they induced something, because they specifically targeted her. So while they were in this other villa, the guys with new girls, and the girls were with different guys, but all of them like slept outside and were kind of out of the situation. The girls got videos of what the guys were doing. And I was just like, what kind of shit is that?
Normally, they both get
movie night. About like, let's watch your shameful moments.
well, yeah, let's create shame and guilt and embarrassment. Yes. And let's scream at each other and say how much the other person sucks.
You know, they all kind of quickly dissolve from that anger. Now that I'm reflecting.
Oh, everything in there is quick. Everything. I mean, inappropriate warning here. The newest girl that came in at the very end, she had sex with the guy she was partnered with before they ever kissed. So, like...
What one was that?
Cassie and Rob.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. Oh, they talked about it.
Oh, I was like,
get through.
Yep.
Yeah. So, like, the quickness of everything. They didn't even know each other at all.
I thought they kind of knew each other from last season.
Yeah, I do think they were in... He was in Casa Amor last season. That was it.
Oh, okay.
So...
Because her little, like, ride on him was like, hey, how are you again?
Yes.
See you while she's trying to be sexy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just kind of crazy. Everything's so quick. I even wrote down, like, Kaylor, who cried quite a bit. She's got emotions. That's great. Please express them. No shame there. But 12 hours in, she was crying because Aaron was talking to another guy. And maybe not quite well.
I'm glad
it was like 2 days.
I hear them saying, like, your feelings are valid. That's great. They all said that and then also kind of disregarded it at the same time. So I hear them, like, trying to have verbiage, but also, like, great.
Well, they kind of were shamey about the guys having emotions.
Well, I didn't take notes except here and there. And there's an episode when Leah and Rob have some stuff going on and Rob ends up crying and she calls him a little bitch. And I was like, damn. Great for him for expressing his feelings. And that's why he doesn't, because he's called a bitch.
Well, and why is it okay for the girls to cry and scream and act out and be cruel at times?
Yeah.
But for the men to cry, they get shamed and made fun of, and like that just perpetuates this cycle in our world of men being emotionally constipated because if they express emotions, they're made fun of or said that they're a baby or what. Yes. Which just, and I think in Leah's defense, because I told you I liked her.
Yes.
She did apologize and said I wasn't okay. I think on a number of occasions.
Yeah, but then I just thought back to that too. Was like where it almost seemed like half-hearted apologies because they get called out. They're like, well, then I should apologize.
I do think that a lot of that stuff was blown out of proportion when Andrea went home.
Oh, yeah. He was there for 4 days, and between her and Rob, the tears and the obsession, I was just like, I couldn't help but laugh.
Yes.
So I was like, what in the world? It's 4 days.
And I know I would have registered this because I'm a Love Island fan. I love Love Island. I think it's fantastic in some ways and also terrible in others. I like to watch it because it's so interesting. The dynamics, they're all so different and they come together, and I like to see how that system works. I also think there's some huge flaws with it. I want to point that out.
Okay.
But when Andrea went home, Olivia said that Leah was the one pushing for her to go home. Yes. I do not remember that being the case.
I didn't really recall too much. And maybe that was blown out of proportion because I think Leah said she took a backseat and they're like, you didn't quite take a backseat. Maybe she was middle row.
Which I believe she was not talking about that circumstance. I think she was talking about taking a backseat in general to Andrea and Rob's relationship.
Oh, no.
And they twisted that and said it was about her going home. And that's not really what she was saying. And she tried to defend herself, and Olivia just kept barking. Like, I don't like Olivia. I don't like how she treated the other girls or the guys.
I was okay with her, but I didn't see, she was like closed off towards the end. I think she was just kind of like over the process. She liked being there for the girls, but like any guys, because there was several. It was kind of like, meh.
Yeah. She wasn't my...
But here we go, Love Island USA, and they brought on multiple people from the UK and Australia and other places.
Yeah. The UK version's good.
You think so?
Yeah. This was a decent season, but I've seen a lot of stuff on social media that's like best season of Love Island USA so far.
Mm-hmm.
And the UK's version, there's like 4 or 5 seasons that I watched that were just pure like, so
what about those was different about this one?
well, one, they have cool accents. So
Yeah.
you can't go wrong there. I would also say that for the most part, a lot of the people on Love Island UK were older, as in like 25 to 35 rather than
these are like early 20s.
Yes.
Some of those girls, I was like, you need that frontal lobe. Frontal cortex, frontal lobe? I don't know.
Either
It
one.
needs to be developed.
Yes. That is part of it. That their brain's not fully developed.
Yeah.
They're emotionally not very mature.
Yeah.
And like just legally became able to drink. So like,
one thing about the show, it didn't seem like they were forcing alcohol because it didn't seem like people were getting
it
drunk.
limits.
Okay.
You can only have so many.
Is that why they only give them glasses?
Yes.
And they wanted everybody to be hydrated with their little water bottles.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, a lot of the contestants, it was like, oh, I've only been in like one serious relationship. And I was like, what are we doing?
I will tell you that anytime I've watched Love Island, the 21, 22-year-olds that come in and they're like, I've just been single for so long and I'm ready to settle down and be in a relationship because I'm so lonely and tired of being alone. I'm like, girlie, figure out who you are first.
And how long is so long?
Yes. Yes. Because like, I'll tell you, I've been single for a while now and I feel great about it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm at the point where people are like, you should get married and settle down and whatever. And I'm so content with who I am that I don't need a man.
Yeah.
Do I want one?
It's cool. Want, not a need.
Yes. And I think a lot of these people that go into Love Island believe they need a relationship.
It's like a desperation.
Yes. So then it's this crying, sobbing that the boy they like didn't choose them or that he's coupled up with someone else.
Well, and I want to say, I was just talking to you about this. They all seem quite manicured and plastic surgery and sculpted. They are definitely a certain look.
Yeah.
Body image insecurities and rejection. I feel like those go hand in hand too. So we put a lot of stock in our appearance and it we're liked.
I also, if you look at reality TV in general, do you see anybody that looks their all? Or even just normal?
Yeah.
Like, everyone looks like they've had some form of surgery or
so they look aesthetically pleasing.
Yes.
Again, going back to the outfits. I've texted you on multiple occasions. I wouldn't be able to be on the show. 1, I wouldn't want to. I'm married. And 2, all of the freaking dresses and bikinis.
Yeah.
They had to have all had a talk or, again, production was like, get your teeniest, tightest, wear
clothing.
There was an orange dress that Danielle put on that had a tag on it still. So I wonder if they get to go shopping. I don't know. But they all like had the same aesthetic and vibe. And I don't even know where you would buy that shit.
Was that the dress that she went on the date with Harrison in?
It was the orange. Yeah.
Her bra was out
A little bit. Yeah.
in the back.
Yes.
And that really bothered me for some reason.
I saw that too. I was like, she's trying to hide it with her hair.
It really bothered me. I was like, why is her bra out? Which, like, everyone wears them. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But it was like, she's looking so cutesy. And in her the whole clasp area was out. And I was like, why did no one tell her? That's maybe what bothered me more.
I don't know. Maybe they did. But again, it was like, you're just doing your own thing. You're next. He wants a date with you.
Go. Yep. Get dressed. Go.
You know how many times they did their makeup a day too? It just seemed like a lot. It just seemed exhausting. They're getting ready to sass.
Yes. And like getting a full face of makeup to go lay by the pool.
Every time. You can't even put sunscreen on your face. How many of them sunscreen? Did they get sunscreen?
Probably.
That's my question. Because there's no pasty people.
Well, whatever his name is, Harrison, he got sunburned and they all talked about it.
Oh, yeah, they did a little bit. Because he thought he was hot shit. So he was showing off and then got sunburned.
I was thinking about, as I was preparing for this episode, back to production, I guess. Maybe I have more issues with production than that.
I'm telling you, oh yeah.
There's a sense of control, manipulation, and creating chaos when they bring in Bombshell. Because they do it at such specific times, it seems.
They know what they're doing.
They do. And it creates anxiety and conflict and stress for everyone. That, like, there's probably, I think they go to bed at like 2 a.m. and then they, like...
Well, even that. They all kind of go to bed at the same time, but then, like, I know in the mornings, their, like, curtains automatically come up.
And the sun's up.
Yeah. I was wondering that.
I believe they go to bed super late, and then they get up, probably not super early, but there is science around going to bed after 11 p.m. Is really not great for you. And so they have all these people on lack of sleep. They feed them alcohol at specific times. They control their diet, the environment they live in. At times, they control who they're coupled up with. Like,
yeah, well, I can imagine trying to sleep in a room with like 10, 11 other people.
Oh, heck no.
I think towards the end, like, some of them have earplugs and... No, thank you.
Yeah, it's...
Also, I wondered, I was like, who makes the grocery list? Do they get certain groceries? Were they wasteful at the end and they had a lot of food that they had to throw away? That just popped in my head. Then you had like different snacks. Did they ask them what kind of snacks they wanted, or they just give them whatever? Do they sit down and eat meals together? Why do the guys have to make the girls breakfast every morning?
Thank you for saying
and a couple of them literally cried about it.
Also, with that, you said guys making breakfast. Thinking back on the episode where Cordell makes Serena breakfast and she hits it.
Yep.
The lack of emotional separation or ability to just say thank you, but no thank you. Or like take it from him and set it down and call it good. Like, why couldn't we do that rather than slamming it into him?
I know. So I was like, and now I have to clean up a mess.
Well, and there was no accountability for that. None of the girls were like, one of them said something like, damn, Serena. Yeah. But there was no like, hey, that wasn't okay. Like, you don't treat people like that. And that really bothered me. But there was no, and I get these people just met each other, but they expressed they have such a close, meaningful friendship. Okay, then call her out for that.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't necessarily see a lot of calling out. I see a lot of support after things happen, but I don't think, maybe here and there. They were just like, but not a lot, really.
Which, we'll talk about this in another episode, but they all have a low level of differentiation, which ultimately, when you boil it down, is being able to separate thoughts and feelings from others' thoughts and feelings.
Yours versus theirs.
Theirs, yes.
Yeah.
And like I wrote down talking about Rob, when Andrea came in, he says, like, I want to keep Leah happy, so I don't want to couple up with this new girl. Well, why are her feelings affecting you? Like, why can't you make a choice for you?
Which is the whole premise of the show.
which ultimately he does. But he literally says, I want to keep her happy.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think when Aaron was in Casa more with Daniela, he says, I want to kiss you, but I don't want to hurt Kaylor's feelings.
Well, then he does it anyway.
He does it anyway.
And like, not just a...
No, they made out. And rubbed feet and who knows what else.
Rubbed feet is wild.
I know, I was like, you guys been barefoot in this grassy, sandy, like...
Yeah. Gross.
Another thing, too, because America got to vote, and they did the... I don't know what they called it, but they had to put on the little cardboard cars and go around and get the tickets.
Oh, yes.
The tweets. And Colleen, there's another thing that we're just kind of like lightly putting in some drama.
Well, let's hurt these people's feelings and see how they react.
Yeah.
Let's give them the meanest tweets we can find. That happens on every season. That's like
this is such a different reality show because it's intertwined with present day and like people watching. Yeah. Which felt extra gross.
Well, and even thinking about those tweets, you have to guess whose name it is.
Yeah. So,
well, if it's not that person that you guess,
you just kind of like give a little insight to who you think they are.
Yes. Even thinking about the most recent game, I think they did, the couples game where they couldn't see each other.
Oh, yeah.
To win the video chats. They asked questions like, who gives you the ick in the villa?
Oh, I skipped ahead of this one as well.
Okay. In that one, Cassie and Rob are up, and one of the questions was, who gives you the ick? And he said, nobody gives me the ick or something like that. Like, none of the people in here. Or he made a joke and said, Kendall does.
Oh,
I think.
Yeah.
And she said Leah. And so then it, like, they pan to Leah, and, like, you can tell she's hurt of, like,
what did I do?
Yes. So they ask each couple pretty hurtful questions and then expect everybody to just be okay.
Okay, we're done. Have fun. Bye.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also just do not understand the purpose of... What's her name? It starts with like an A, I think, like the host.
Ariana.
Yeah, I was like, you just come in here looking hot, stir some shit. She like... When things happen, she just kind of like, well, unfortunately, like, we're moving forward. You got by.
Yeah.
But she's there not all the time, and they text certain people the bullshit, so they have to read it.
Yeah.
This is like another little slang. I don't know.
Yeah. Each season has one of those people, the, like, host. And I believe there's a finale, or there's not a finale. There's a reunion. Which she hosts.
I just don't understand her job as the hostess. It didn't add anything.
Honestly.
Except anxiety. Because when they saw her, they were like, oh,
something's happening.
There you go. There's that.
Control and manipulation.
I am really curious the mental health of these contestants after the fact. And if anybody keeps tabs on that.
Are they provided anything? Like, any access to mental health services? Yeah, I would probably say no now.
I don't know. Do you think this kind of reality show is different from, like, Jersey Shore?
In what way?
I'm curious how much control and manipulation and shaming now versus then.
I think this is different. This show is so focused on looks being enough, which I did air quotes for people who are just listening. Enough, being enough, looks being enough, winning, because that
at the end of the day, they get $10,000,
100. It's
$100,000, $1,000,
and you get to split it.
You know,
if you choose
50,000.
Yeah. But you can choose to keep it.
Wait,
one of you. I don't know how it works.
Yeah, I think I'd be like, well, this 6 week was definitely worth me getting $15,000.
Yeah. Control, manipulation, fear. And Jersey Shore, I think, was more about fun and wasn't so focused on, I mean, there was a focus on how they looked, but not as much.
Yeah, GTL.
Yeah. But for the women, that was different.
Well, they were getting ready to go club, so I guess that was different. They were getting ready to go out,
And it was
it
just
didn't happen.
like
Yeah.
they got to, it was just this crew and they could bring people home, I guess.
Yeah, I guess I'm wondering, like, aftermath, their mental.
I also think like Jersey Shore, that was such a huge thing
Mm-hmm.
that they're all still famous and still doing like Jersey Shore stuff.
Yeah,
Jersey
you can
Shore
get
stuff.
a cameo.
Yes. But Love Island, well,
You're
that's
gonna go. Well, now I'm sure, because we were just looking at their Instagrams, and
Yeah.
how much they've changed, or like now they're popular, but to like try to hold on to that, I don't know, and remain
Yes.
interesting.
Which I think part of why people go on Love Island is for the social media following.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that brings me back to like they were all hot to begin with. They were all a certain aesthetic, so I could see that being like a tool of like, I'm gonna keep going with whatever.
Which last week we talked about social media versus reality.
Mm-hmm.
And I would be so intrigued of like, okay, for example, Miguel saw on movie night Leah scream at Rob, I think.
Yes,
Or someone.
that was during her nasty phase.
Okay. So he said, like, that's not something I like.
Right.
But in the villa, you see such limited stuff. And so what's reality? Is her reality being kind and sweet, or is her reality like screaming at people? Yes.
You see that being really difficult to decipher.
Oh, how do you?
Yeah.
I mean,
again, and then they always keep talking about when we get out of here on the outside. Like, this is what I'd like things to look like.
well, in reality, Taylor and Aaron living in 2 different countries.
Yeah.
I mean, it can work, but
all of the outside stimuli, again, they're working their job. Also, all of these shows, whenever there's a reality show, how do you tell your boss you need to take off 6 weeks to go on a show?
Or Daniela, she is going to school to be a vet.
Is that what she was? I
Yeah.
didn't even pay attention.
How do you?
It's during the summer. That's how she could get away with it. And some of these others with like big girl jobs, I'm like, how do you? Also, I don't know. I thought about this too when the parents come on. They're like, we're just so proud of you. We've been watching every step. My parents would just be mortified.
Oh, my
I
parents.
don't think they'd have any happy support.
I don't think my parents would video chat with.
No. Well, mine wouldn't want to be on national television either. They'd be like,
No.
how about Ian Downs?
I think my parents would be embarrassed
Yeah.
and disappointed in me.
I know.
And there would probably be a strain on that relationship, which I think,
again, is that the certain kind of person they're looking for?
yes. And like different expectations of family of origin. I don't know, generationally, like, I'd be curious how many of those people are their parents divorced? How many of their parents are together?
Yeah. Well, I know one of them had a stepdad.
Taylor. Yeah. And I'd be curious, actually, I'd love to figure, and I probably could. Cordell, his dad was on, and his godmother. Where's his mom?
Yeah.
And then
Kendall's mom.
Kendall's mom and sister. Serena's sister and
I think
brother.
something happened to her mom, so she was.
Yeah. Taylor's mom and stepdad. Aaron's mom, grandma, and brother.
Yeah.
So the only person. I guess.
I'm not seeing a lot of dads.
No. Cordell's dad was on, and Taylor's stepdad.
Nicole's dad. He was getting teary-eyed, and I was like, I cannot fathom a time and place that my dad watched me parade around in a bikini and making out with dudes, and teary-eyed chatted with me.
Well, and even beyond a bikini, all in lingerie.
I know. That's another thing. I was like, how are these people so comfortable being out in their lingerie?
In front of everyone.
Everyone, all the time. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. It is just so interesting, that dynamic of, I don't know, and even like Taylor, I don't think got enough crap compared to the others for how reactive, and I'm not saying she was treated okay at times, but she was very reactive and harsh at moments.
I talked about with the whole Aaron situation.
Yeah. And I think even at one point she was involved in something with Olivia. Oh, the Leah situation. And her parents were like, we're so proud of you. You've handled yourself so well. What?
Yeah. Who's the oldest? Is Janae the oldest? I think she was 27. I don't know how old the guys were, but I think she was
Probably
the oldest girl.
Oh, no, I think Nicole was older than her.
Was she?
Maybe not.
I don't know. I can see her being older.
Yeah, me too.
Also, I don't want to judge, but they all just looked older. I've seen a video of a plastic surgeon guessing the ages of Love Island contestants and being like 2 years off.
Yes. I actually think I've seen a video of that, and I think they were potentially these girls.
Really?
I'd never seen this show, so I didn't register.
Oh, I don't know. But he was like, oh, 40. I think she had blah, blah, blah. And they're like, she's 21.
No, sir.
I guess it's just
Yeah.
my cup of tea.
I also think they all come in and look at someone and say, yep, that's them.
Yes.
But then they start to get to know them and maybe aren't as interested. But then someone else beautiful comes in or
Oh, yeah. Well, that is just like
and they don't.
Surface level. So
Yes.
with that mentality and some of these people, I'm like, are you really going to find your connection?
There are couples from the UK that are still together that like got married and had kids.
Really?
Which is so interesting. Actually, a couple just rose up that like they've been together like 5-7 years, something like that, have a kid together. It's like a really big deal. I love that. I love it a lot. Really specifically in the UK version.
You do really love it.
I don't love the US.
Not gonna watch it ever again.
Yeah, that's fair. I will say it does create a level of like stress within me. That's like, let's get them some mental health help. Why is there no support in there? Let's teach people how to communicate and express emotions without screaming. Or I think crime's great. Don't get me wrong.
What if it was more, it wouldn't be as exciting to the viewer, I think. I was going to say, what if it was just more organic without having the pot get stirred? But then it wouldn't be as enthralling. Also, just a random side note, for having a pool or two, like nobody ever swam. For wearing bikinis all the time, hardly ever did they get into the pool. Or else
we saw Harrison swim, and that was it.
And Rob when he was poping around.
Oh, yeah. I will say on other seasons of Love Island, there's been a lot more swimming. Like people just get it.
They focused a lot. I guess it's just what they're showing the viewer. It was the guys working out all the time, especially with the owner around. And then like after he left, I never saw them working out again.
True. Which after he left, they probably became more in their couples. And you see, there were a few episodes where I was like, none of them are interacting with other people anymore. They're all just in their couple, which I think loses the importance of friendship. Like, I tell lots of clients that therapy math is 1 + 1 is 3. 2 people and then the couple. You don't lose the 2 people.
No, so many people do. It's like, it's just us.
So many people lose.
Chill a little bit.
Yes.
We get to be our individuals and we get to be a couple.
Yes. I think I really struggled just as a person, not even as a therapist. I mean, as a therapist, but in my personal life too, of my identity is just like, I really struggle with that because we're so much more than one thing.
Right.
And so much more than just in a relationship or single or working or not, or in school or not school. Like, it's not one of those things. It's all of them.
Right. We get so caught up in that label.
Yeah. I think just curious as we come to a wrap of like, how do you think they could make this show healthier? Maybe there's not a way.
I just made a face. I think the healthy way would to not do this show.
Yeah. Do you think that about all reality TV?
Honestly, yeah, dating show. But like, what are we really like looking for? I think the producers want some drama, they want some connection. But if they did a survey of everybody that had a connection and then didn't after these shows, one, how long does the connection last?
Yeah.
And two, like, how many of them were coupled up before, and then when they get into the real world, they're not. Because I think more often they're not.
Oh, even thinking about, I know we're not talking about this, but Love is Blind. I saw an interview of one of the guys who, like, went through the whole process, married someone, and then he ended up getting a divorce. And he talked about his experience in the Love is Blind. Did I say Love Island? Just like,
No, you said Love is Blind.
Okay,
Yeah.
In the Love is Blind, like, whatever it's called, I don't know, where they limited sleep and fed them a lot of alcohol and limited food and nutrition, and
we're wanting them to make some piss poor decisions.
yes, date after date after date, no, not a lot of downtime, like all this stuff. And so it's this level of, we're going to limit sleep, we're going to fuel them with alcohol, we're going to give them limited nutrition, which all of that right there affects brain functioning. And so then throw them in a room with another person and get to know the other person.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
Look, just think about how many nervous systems are so dysregulated.
Yeah.
They get a time because they're on somebody else's schedule. So,
and I know Love is Blind, they don't have like access to what time it is or phones or anything. And so
I didn't know that. That's
time control.
I was going to say who wants to join the shows, but I've seen another article where a guy was in a relationship and then signed up for this. And I think he was still in a relationship, so they're just wanting to,
Yes. Just want some fame or social media access or whatever. And maybe they genuinely want love and are struggling in the real world to find them. But
this ain't it.
I think that can cause some more damage. Ultimately, I think these shows are there for attention and to grab views.
Yes.
But if we're circling back to our favorite thing,
if nothing changes, nothing changes.
We wanted to say thank you for listening today. You can find our Instagram at 2View Therapy and view our merchandise through our Etsy shop at 2View Therapy.
Please rate, review, and subscribe to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcasts. If you are in a mental health crisis, contact your local crisis center, or you can call and text 988.